And again, going back to the emails that Colonel Ramon was sending to his family, Anderson, his brother told us about an email he received from Colonel Ramon just 2 days ago, and this really a powerful message. His brother saying, quote, he was so happy that he didn't want to come back to Earth, and he didn't. Anderson, back to you.
Our colleague Judy Woodruff was reporting earlier that President Bush has made a call to Israeli Prime Minister Ariel Sharon. I understand that Sharon has also called the father of Colonel Ramon.
He did. He spoke with the father earlier this evening, again, to express his condolences. The Israeli government also making sure that the entire extended family, Colonel Ramon's father, his brother, anyone else who wanted to go, could go to the Johnson Space Center in Texas to console Colonel Ramon's wife and his 4 children. And about that phone call, Anderson, yes, President Bush and the Prime Minister speaking. It was a brief phone call, but powerful exchange of messages. We understand President Bush saying this was a tragic day for Israel, for the United States, for science. He called Colonel Ramon a brave Israeli citizen and extended his condolences to the people of Israel. And the Prime Minister again saying that the hearts of the Israeli people and the American people were bonded together. And he said that we are all sort of joining hands and praying together, and also extending condolences to the American people for their losses tonight. Anderson.
Kelly, just my final question to you. Also, we're getting a reaction from Palestinians as well. Is that not correct?
Yes, yes. Reaction coming in from the Palestinian community. The Palestinian senior negotiator, Saeb Erekat, in fact, calling us earlier this evening to say that the Palestinian leader, Yasser Arafat, and the Palestinian Authority expressing their condolences to the 6 American families and to the 1 Israeli family who lost loved ones. And then also, we are told, Yasser Arafat has sent a letter to U.S. President Bush extending his condolences to the American people. As you know, Anderson, these 2 men have never met. I don't believe they have either spoken either. But the Palestinians wanting to convey their condolences to the American people and to the Israeli people after this tragedy. Anderson.
All right, Kelly Wallace live in Jerusalem. Thanks very much, Kelly. We're going to go now to John Zarella, who's standing by the Kennedy Space Center. John, who's covered a lot of shuttle missions, covered the Challenger disaster as well. John, what are your thoughts?
That's right, Anderson. You know, I was here when Challenger exploded 17+ years ago now, and I remember down by the review clock down there and down by the flag when Challenger went up, and of course we all watched it, and we all watched it disappear into this cloud of smoke, but from the ground level, of course, we could not imagine or fathom what had happened at that point. And I recall the chaos that ensued here at the Kennedy Space Center as all of us were running around and scrambling and trying to get whatever information we could, and information was very difficult to come by. And now jumping forward to this event today, I commented earlier with Lou Dobbs that I thought that you know, one of the things, of course, that NASA learned out of the tragedy of Challenger was how to better handle these situations in the eventuality that they happened. And I think in the back of everyone's mind at NASA, while they hoped and prayed that it would never happen again, that it is a very complicated vehicle and there are all kinds of things that could go wrong. And they knew better this time how to handle this situation. The information was tremendously forthcoming today during the briefings. Everything was far more organized here at the press center than it was back 17+ years ago. No less a tragedy, no less of somber feeling here, but people had their jobs to do, and they went about and did them, and the plans that were laid into place following Challenger came into play today, unfortunately, but certainly it seemed that everything was far more organized. And I think that the investigation that will ensue will also have benefited, tragically enough, from Challenger. They know what to do. They know how to go about the business of gathering the data and the information and assembling the teams that will be needed. And they may well call upon people, Anderson, who worked on the Challenger Commission and who were involved in that investigation to lend their expertise again here in this very, very tragic incident. Anderson?
Well, John, obviously this investigation is just getting started. It will be taking many days and weeks and months, no doubt, if not perhaps longer than that even. John Zarella, thanks very much joining us right now. We're going to go to Patty Davis, who's standing by in Washington, has some information on the investigation. Patty?
Well, Anderson, a massive debris search is is now underway across several states. The Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, is coordinating the federal government's response and recovery of that debris from the shuttle breakup. The military guarding and searching for debris using planes, boats, and helicopters. The National Transportation Safety Board this evening sending vehicle structure and systems experts to help. Now, NTSB crash investigators helped piece together debris from the in-flight breakup of the TWA 800 crash, and this debris field possibly 100 times bigger than that. NASA, meanwhile, taking steps today and pounding data to make sure that it keeps everything it needs to, so communication from the shuttle, data from the shuttle, so that it can look at that and use that to help in the investigation. The FAA has put a huge no-fly zone into place from Texas to Louisiana, 40 miles wide by 160 miles long. That to make it easier for recovery teams to do their jobs. And today, a massive debris cloud hanging in the air off the Louisiana coast, heading towards the Gulf. The FAA telling pilots simply to keep an eye out for that. Anderson.
Well, Patty, let's talk about the investigation a little bit. Exactly who is running it? I mean, we talked about the FAA, the NTSB, FEMA. I assume FEMA is the one overall in charge. Who's the go-to person on this?
Well, I think that's kind of unclear right now. FEMA looking to do the first response, to do the recovery efforts of the debris. Now, NASA, of course, will launch its own investigation into what happened, the cause of this. It announced today that it has also set up an independent board to look at the cause of this crash. That involves agencies, the military, the Department of Transportation, the Federal Aviation Administration. So you're going to have a couple parallel investigations going on here. That independent board pretty much set up to make sure that it has no dog in this fight. It's just in there independently, perhaps finding some things that NASA wouldn't find. We don't know.
Well, Patty, I mean, it might not be known at this point. Earlier on in the day, there had been some talk that Tom Ridge was going to be sort of overseeing the overall efforts right now. I guess because FEMA is becoming part of his department come March 1st. Is there any more on that at this point?
That's true. Big question. Will he be calling the shots on this? A new agency in charge of domestic incidents like this one, as well as terrorism. I just think we don't have the final word on that. I don't have the final word on that, Anderson.
And just, if you do know, is there a sense of how long these sorts of investigations take? I mean, are we talking months? Are we talking years? Do we know at this point?
If you look at the TWA 800 accident, that took literally years. So with an accident of this magnitude, one would expect months, if not years.
And I remember in that investigation, I mean, often they literally try to put together the airship again. Is that going to be attempted here? Do we know?
Well, you know, that's interesting. They did put that back together. The NTSB had it in a hangar and pieced it back together and was able to establish that it was the center fuel tank. And I think NTSB also told me today that it was involved in piecing together the shuttle Challenger. So certainly NTSB will be instrumental. They've got experience. They'll most likely be trying to do that again. The problem here, though, this shuttle broke up at 200,000 feet up in the sky. And you can imagine how wide this debris field must be. It's going to be awfully hard to collect all those pieces, but that's why all these agencies are out there right now cordoning off areas, that big no-fly zone in place right now to keep aircraft out of there. They want to keep people from touching this debris so they can gather it together, and the hope would be to piece it together again.
You know, it's interesting. When there is a plane crash, everyone by now knows about the black box and the flight data recorder. That's what people look for. In the press conference earlier today, NASA officials were saying they are looking for what they refer to as the black box. But the shuttle really is so plugged in to mission control. I mean, is there actual information in the debris that they need, or do they have all the information already in the data, in all the machines and the equipment that they already have in mission control?
Well, you know, I was surprised to hear the NASA official saying that there is a black box of sorts. They've got a data recorder, a voice recorder as well. But he said, more importantly, is that streaming information that is coming 24/7 from this mission into mission control. And their recording on that is going to be just invaluable, and that is probably going to be what's providing the best clues here for the investigation.
All right. Patty Davis in Washington, thanks very much. I appreciate it in this ongoing investigation. A lot to cover in the coming days and weeks. We're going to show you a live shot right now to Cape Canaveral. This is a really beautiful shot right now. Sort of belies the tragedy that has occurred here some almost 10 and a half hours ago. That is live at Cape Canaveral. We're going to be bringing you a special report in about 35 minutes. Columbia shuttle tragedy. That's with Miles O'Brien, Wolf Blitzer, Judy Woodruff, and Lou Dobbs. That's tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern Time, 5 p.m. Pacific Time. Miles is going to be here in Atlanta. Wolf Blitzer, the Johnson Space Center in Houston. Judy Woodruff in Washington, as she has been all day. And Lou Dobbs manning his post at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. I hope you stay with us for that special report, Columbia shuttle tragedy.